We've got news for you. I'm Gary Lineker. In the news this week, outside Downing Street, David Cameron reiterates his claim that the Conservatives are the party of the working people. Bill Turnbull visits the only person in Britain to have watched every single episode of BBC Breakfast.
What's your name? What? Can't breathe. Can't breathe. OK.
And evidence emerges that the SNP's triumph on election night was possibly over-celebrated by Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian about whom one journalist wrote, she can switch from the ethics of veganism to the chemical constituents of cosmetics without taking a breath. No big deal, so can Alan Shearer. Please welcome Sarah Pascoe. And with Paul tonight is a writer and comedian whose latest series was set on the general election battle buses, though it wasn't all that accurate as it failed to show the Labour one driving off a cliff. Donaldson. And we start with the biggest stories of the week. Paul and Andy, take a look at this.
Oh, yes, this is FIFA. There's goodbye, Sepp Blatter. Yes, it's FIFA have been found guilty of... They've been doing it for quite some time. So in the end, they stopped sort of bothering trying to pretend it was anything other than very corrupt.
When I saw the headline, systemic corruption at FIFA, I thought, well, how's that a news story?
I had no idea FIFA had anything to do with football. I thought it was just a vast money laundering operation. I mean, they're based in Switzerland, which is always a giveaway if you're looking for corruption. Where's your headquarters? Oh, it's there, is it? Is that because you don't want to pay any tax or tell anyone what you're stealing? Yes. That may be a bit direct for the lawyers, but...
I mean, like all black farces, it threw up some hilarious moments. I mean, maybe the most hilarious has been that the sponsors have now occupied the high moral ground, saying, oh, no, we, you know, unless FIFA restores its reputation. You think, well, its reputation is for corruption, so why would you want to restore that? Really happy to turn a blind eye to the situation for decades in return for the commercial rewards of having the World Cup. So it's just hypocrisy. I mean, Coca-Cola, Visa, Adidas, they're all hypocrites. And for legal reasons, I'll stress that's not the view of the BBC. That's my own personal view, and other hypocritical sponsors are available.
Blatter in the clear. Do you know?
Apparently he doesn't use email, and he doesn't use his phone. That's not to say that if he did, he'd clearly have committed a crime.
That's not tactical, that's just a very, very old man.
I think the poor man was hoodwinked for 20 years. You know, he was working with all these people. He had no idea what they were doing.
Not a clue what's going on. When I came on here, they told me it was like a quiz, so I have to ask a few questions, if you don't mind.
That's a risky strategy this early on.
So we'll move on.
Nice man.
For now. So is Sepp Blatter standing down? Do you think he'll stand down?
He's not the standing down type, I would say.
I think he has support outside of Europe, doesn't he, within the world football, so he's likely to continue.
Did you hear his defence, which was along the lines of, I cannot monitor everyone all of the time? You know, the Rebecca Brooks excuse. What happened at the end of Sepp's press conference?
Did he just hand out brown envelopes and say, you know what I mean? It's a triumph for the American justice system. I noticed we did nothing. I mean, Andrew Jennings, brilliant journalist, wrote a book in 2006 about this, called Foul. We've known FIFA and the Sunday Times turn them over every week and the Sunday Telegraph. Nothing happens. In America, stealing money is a proper offence. Dawn raids, 7 of them in Switzerland. Fantastic. Men with FBI suits.
But you're right, they don't muck about, the Americans. If they encounter corporate fraud, if someone's found guilty of corporate fraud, you know, they get jailed. Whereas over here, they instantly get Alzheimer's.
Do we know where the arrests were made?
Zurich?
He was in the hotel.
Anyone gets the name of it, I'll be...
The Hotel Splendido Backhander.
Nearly.
That's its old name.
I'm sorry.
What I love was that they were carted out from the hotel, the suspects, behind beautiful, huge, pristine white sheets, and you thought, now that's a 5-star hotel.
That's right. There it is, the Barrow Lack, and there are the sheets.
It's a police raid. Get the best linen out.
Who has been arrested? Can you name any name? Name names.
Jack Warner.
Yep.
Evening all, he's gone.
That was a shot.
It was a shot.
He was alive.
Jack Warner, the former Vice President of FIFA, who appears to have been given by a Qatari company during the bid for the 2022 World Cup. Who was the undercover man?
Chuck Blazer.
Yeah.
Is it?
There he is.
Sorry, I don't know why.
Not much point throwing a sheet over him, is there?
But he's like an emblem of the whole story, because I was watching the film Donnie Brasco, you know, the film about the mafia, the other night, and was thinking how like FIFA that is. Except that mafia bosses, they live quite discreetly. This guy, Chuck Norris...
Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris.
You're casting the film already, aren't you?
Chuck Blazer, right, had 2 luxury penthouse apartments, one for himself and one for his cats.
At a cost of $6,000 a month.
Yeah, he had this massive fortune, And in the end, the IRS noticed he wasn't paying much tax, and they chased him up the street on his mobility... He was on his mobility scooter. Yeah, which I think was a gold mobility scooter. And he weighs 32 stone, this guy, and they said to him, all right, either we arrest you or you cooperate. And he actually wore a wire at the FIFA meet. Well, mind you, 32 stones. There's a lot of places where you can hide a wire.
You could have worn a radiogram. You'll often hear that word these days.
Yeah.
But that was the giveaway, wasn't it? Because when he started, he wasn't 30 stone.
Yeah.
No.
With the gold bars that were weighing.
Yeah.
Why is Chuck so central to the FBI
Well, anyway, he stands for
investigation? Who has slammed FIFA and Sepp Blatter in a column for the Daily Telegraph saying national football is drowning in a sea of contempt?
Is it someone in football?
Yes.
Okay.
Pass.
We know loads of football players.
No.
Let's just guess football players then. Lee Sharp. Does he have a column?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Robbie Savage.
It was, in fact, one Diego Maradona. He's complained about the scandal and the way Sepp Blatter's handled it. He can talk. Who do the Swiss authorities now want to speak to?
They want to talk to Blatter himself?
Vitaly Mutsko, the head of the 2018 World Cup in Russia. So the World Cup could be taken away from Russia, unless Putin says no, obviously.
Could we give it to Ukraine? Is that safer?
Putin also came out with one of the great comedy quotes, which was that the Russian bid for the 2018 World Cup was done in complete compliance with FIFA's code of ethics.
Comedy gold.
Yeah. Yes, Vladimir, that's the problem.
The Swiss police are thinking of launching a criminal investigation into the 2018 and 22 bids.
To be brutally honest, we were happy to go along with that, weren't we? I mean, we spent... How much did we spend on our... 18 million, was it, we spent on our
it was a
bid?
few bob.
I mean, how? How do you spend 18 million on a bid? And I mean, I think we did give him a watch, didn't we? We gave Blatter...
It's a very accurate watch.
Yeah. Well, it'll come in handy for him, because it'll tell him how much longer he's got left in the exercise yard. But... no.
Yes, this is the arrest of several FIFA officials in spite of the allegations. FIFA insisted that Friday's election had to go ahead as the votes had already been paid for. Ian and Sarah, take a look at this.
Aladdin. It's a state opening of Parliament.
Black Rod. There's Gilbert and Sullivan. And there's another comic double act. And there's Her Majesty having to read this stuff out. Yeah, it's the Queen's speech. And as you can see, it's about austerity, mostly.
I think the Queen's annoyed that end up in so similar an outfit.
This is the first Conservative-only Queen's speech for nearly 20 years. As far as implementing Conservative manifesto promises was concerned, David Cameron said he would not waste a single moment. So what's he done about the promise to scrap the Human Rights Act?
Oh, it wasn't mentioned, was it?
No, he's scrapped it. The promise. It's the first of the U-turns. But in this case, it's quite good. I think he noticed, when he read through again the draft, that this is quite a stupid idea. Parents who don't want this, there's lots of opposition there, there's opposition in the Lords. No one really thinks it's a good idea.
Indeed, that's right. He's got a small majority, and even some of his own party are against it, as you said, including Andrew Mitchell, who said it would send out all the wrong signals. Well, he may not have said it, but a policeman claimed he heard him. And that's good enough for me.
To be fair to Cameron, when he wrote the manifesto...
He didn't think he was going to be in power.
No.
So what will be implemented?
Well, the Snooper's Charter.
Yes.
Mark 2.
Yeah, second one.
And, of course, the EU referendum bill. David Cameron has pledged to hold the in-out referendum by the end of 2017. Is that a good idea?
How much do referendums cost, though? Surely that in itself is a very expensive thing for a government to do.
It's not that expensive.
Is it not that expensive?
No, we're going to have one on Scotland most years.
Oh,
The Bank of England is secretly researching the financial effects of Britain leaving the EU. How do they know about this highly confidential plan?
This was a mistake that the guy that was sort of working on the strategy sort of sent a sort of email out to the people that should know, and one of them went to the Guardian newspaper.
It's quite a big mistake, that, isn't it?
It's a big mistake.
I also thought it was a slightly iffy story. If someone said, well, the Bank of England isn't preparing, they're going to wake up that morning and say, oh, my God, we've left Europe, have we?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got any money? We've not got any money?
Yeah.
I would rather hope the Bank of England was doing something.
During the state opening of Parliament, who did the SNP annoy?
they clapped. Is it that? They got told off for clapping.
Yes.
Was it Burkow?
Yeah, speaker, yeah.
It's the same reaction as, you know, when you go to a concert and people clap between movements.
Concert, did you say? A concert!
What is in Michael Gove's handbag?
Snacks.
I think the speech is in there.
Yeah.
Because he has to then get down on one knee and hand Her Majesty the vellum parchment.
That's absolutely...
I'll have the chicken. Original sprouts.
I mean, if you took a woman in her mid-80s and piled layers of fur on her and then put an incredibly heavy hat made of gold on her head and then made her read out 10 minutes of meaningless drivel, you'd be reported for abuse of the elderly, wouldn't you?
Right, next question. Can anyone tell me what this is?
It's the cap of maintenance.
Oh,
The cap of
Is
maintenance.
that how you find out what house you're in? Quick and talk.
No, that's absolutely right. It's either the House of Commons or the House of Lords.
This is carried before the Queen during the state opening of Parliament, just ahead of the crock of shite. Here's Eric Pickles. What has he just been given?
His own postal code.
He's been given a hat that looks strangely like an owl.
Yes, lovely owl's eye, yes. That could be a Russian owl.
He's been given a knighthood.
That's right. Finally, what is Tony Blair going to step down from?
Oh, being the peace envoy for the Middle East.
As his job is now nearly over. The region is blossoming. Everybody's happy.
This is the Queen's speech setting out David Cameron's top goals, which are as follows. Goal A, an EU referendum. Goal B, repeal of the Human Rights Act. And Goal C, a season ticket to see his favourite team, West Ham. I mean Aston Villa. Well, shortly we'll see Stoke versus Swansea. But first, to round two, the strengthometer of news.
Yes.
Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Well, as the picture shows, there was an earthquake in the tip of Kent there. It didn't really affect anybody. Somebody fell out of bed in Sevenoaks and somebody banged a bed in Tenterden, and a cat in Dover looked the wrong way for a minute. But other than nothing else happened. It went like that.
Yeah. I was reading about a guy who he said he was woken up and he felt it and he thought a lorry had driven to the house, and then he went on Twitter to see what had happened, rather than go downstairs and see if there was a lorry in his house.
Well, despite it being the biggest earthquake to have hit Britain in 7 years, the fire brigade reported no injuries or structural damage. However, one person complained the incident caused books to shake from shelves. Well, one lady revealed to the Mail, who were obviously outraged, that her bird had fallen off her perch and was acting strange.
This is why we can't do those extreme weather programmes, isn't it? You know, you can see those programmes on Channel 5, you know, tornadoes tearing houses apart in the Midwest.
Stiff breeze in the Cotswolds.
On at 9, on 5.
Umbrella turned inside out.
One person tweeted this photo.
That's very good.
Here's another one. But let's see how funny they find it when the fracking starts. There was actually a second earthquake in Britain on Tuesday night. Why didn't that one get the same media coverage?
BBC bias?
Probably. No, because it was in Wales and no one cares. Apparently, entire areas of Newport are in complete ruin, so it was lucky the earthquake wasn't there. This is the earthquake in Kent. According to the Daily Mirror, Adrian Tottenham of Sandwich said his first thought when the earthquake hit was that there was an elephant lumbering across the roof. After one British quake in 2013, a witness said for a second it felt like the whole house moved from south to north. How terrifying. Imagine the effect on the property price. Fingers on buzzers, Steve.
This is Mr Hayes. This is the guy in the LIBOR scandal. You know, he's a banker who's been accused of fiddling the LIBOR rates, and his case has come to court, and they said he was motivated by greed, which actually I think that's the basis of his defence. I'm a banker, I'm motivated by greed, what's the problem? Why am I here? Can I go now? That's roughly...
I have to stress that these are all allegations and he denies the charges. What's he actually been accused of doing?
Of encouraging other people to fiddle the LIBOR exchange rate.
Which is the London Interbank Offered Rate.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't understand it, but I'm a footballer.
Yeah, money would be alien to you.
Not in my day. This is the LIBOR trial, which started this city trader who rigged financial markets, also tried to bribe associates with copious amounts of curry, which is why the bottom fell out of the market. LIBOR is now so associated with excessive greed and corruption that at one point Sepp Blatter thought about asking the Liborians to bid for the World Cup. Time now for the odd one out round. It's just one between you this week. Your four are an advert on a Cardiff bus, booze at Eurovision, British TV programmes, and this number plate.
So the Cardiff bus, that was some terrible campaign that they had to encourage people to ride on the bus by a picture of a woman saying something like, "You can ride me all day."
For £3.
For £3.
Yeah.
Then the right-hand one, right down the bottom, this is about sort of the DVLA people not sort of allowing certain number plates.
Why is that right?
Well, I think some people would see that as huge knob, Gary.
Well, isn't the telly, it's about being banned beforehand or being banned after? Because British television programmes were meant to be... One of the ideas of the new government is they'll be vetted by Theresa May.
At Eurovision, wasn't it that people were told not to boo Russia?
Right.
Because
For their own safety.
So I think the British programmes is the odd one out, because it hasn't been banned yet. Nothing's been
That is the
censored
right
yet.
answer. Well played. They have all been removed to avoid offence, apart from British TV programmes, which under new powers may be vetted before they can cause offence. A leaked memo revealed this week that Theresa May wants Ofcom to be able to vet TV shows before they're broadcast to guard against extremist views being aired. This number plate is one of hundreds of the DVLA's banned list, which they published this week.
Are the DVLA a little bit short of work to do?
You can have this.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right,
okay.
yes.
But not this.
Oh, that's a bit...
And the Guardian reports...
But that's in Vagiana, that's not... I don't mean to be pedantic. But
That's an opera by Wagner. It lasts 6 days.
An advert on a Cardiff bus featuring a topless woman was removed after 3 hours after a number of complaints. What was it about this particular advert that caused such offence, do you think, on the bus?
It was that she looked like she was topless, and it was the monetary value, and I guess the wording of "ride me all day." I guess it was everything about this advert.
Booze at Eurovision this year was silenced by anti-booing technology. Why were the producers of the contest so worried about booing?
Because they didn't want people to think that Russia is unpopular because of its actions abroad and that people in Europe don't approve.
Because they booed last year about
did
what
they?
happened at Ukraine and stuff. So.
But the Eurovision was fascinating, wasn't it? Because it looked like Russia was going to win, which would have been absolutely fantastic. They'd had to host it next year.
Yeah.
The largest number of open homosexuals ever descending on one city. What's Putin going to do? Arrest everybody?
Eurovision does provide sign language for the hard of hearing. Here's a Swedish singer in one of the heats together with his signer.
He's brilliant.
it's quite large in frame, isn't it? Normally, the signer is kind of like a hobbit.
Which one's the signer and which one's the singer?
We should have done Mandela's funeral. Yes, they have all been removed to avoid offence, apart from British TV programmes which, under new powers, may be censored before they can cause offence. This controversial advert appeared on May the 11th, the first time a topless woman had been seen on a bus in Cardiff since May the 10th. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication refereeing the Referees magazine. There's a special edition for Manchester United fans with an extra 5 pages at the end. And we start with, at the start of your career, you should ask more experienced referees advice on what, and what.
Whistles.
Is it offside? Onside? Suicide?
So choosing the type of whistle to use, where to get your cards from, and how to dress for games. Books, and the way tonight's going, I may never be booked again. Next, 90% of people in Britain have what?
Issues.
Ridden someone for £3.
I'll give you a clue. It's a mate named somebody.
A friend called Gary.
Or Dave.
No.
I have a friend called Dave.
Dave. That's
Dave.
it. 90% of people in Britain have a mate named Dave.
Oh, Tory propaganda of the most obvious.
In addition, the Daily Mail reports the name Gary, once was one of the most popular names in Britain, of course, is now heading for extinction. Don't blame me. Blame glitter. Next, Shearer under fire for what?
Oh, shaving a sheep that wasn't his.
That's remarkably close, actually.
Is it?
Yeah. It was actually verbally abusing sheep.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, OK.
How do you verbally abuse a sheep? A sheep.
You go, bastard. I mean, I thought at the start it did mean Alan Shearer, but he would never verbally abuse a sheep. He might sexually abuse one, but...
Is he doing the cup final?
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting show.
And finally, the Pope hasn't what since 1990?
Is it the Pope hasn't believed in God since 1990?
He hasn't watched television.
But yes.
Since 1990. He's up for him, he says.
That's right. The Pope hasn't watched television since 1990. Pope Francis has revealed that he has not watched television for 15 years. Blimey, that must be really tough on his kids.
Isn't that 25 years, 1990?
Yes. What did that say?
15.
It's just maths.
That's bad. Can we do that one again?
Yeah.
With the good maths. Pope Francis has revealed that he has not watched television for 25 years. Blimey, that's 10 years longer than it was 2 seconds ago. So the final scores are as follows. Paul and Andy, 10 points. Ian and Sarah, 6 points. Before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Sarah have this.
Cameron missing. Boris denies all problems.
Andy, get that one.
Right.
Is that actually what it is?
Just black, is
Just
it?
black. Yeah.
Set black looks into future.
Yes. On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Sarah Pascoe, Paul Merton and Andy Hamilton. And I leave you with news that the FBI's investigation reveals evidence of a FIFA official arriving in Romania to negotiate the sale of TV rights. As a butler serves tea in the Vatican, the Pope refuses to believe that they've run out of custard creams. As filming begins on their new adaptation of Beowulf, the makers have dealt out the problems of minor historical inaccuracies. And following the arrest of several senior officials, FIFA bring in a new face to help eradicate the culture of greed. Good night.
There's plenty more from Gary tomorrow with our coverage of the FA Cup final. The build-up to the big game starts at lunchtime with Football Focus at 12:10. Next, Raising Laughs and Hands in the Air. This is Brown's Boys is on BBC One. And later, John Bishop is on the Graham Norton Show at 10:35 ahead of the start of his very own show, which you can hear all about now.